You won't notice it at first. Not when you're young. Not when life still feels random, emotional, uncontrolled. Because in the beginning, everything feels like chaos. People come and go. Opportunities appear and disappear. Emotions rise, fall, and pull you in every direction. You react. You chase. You hope things will work out. And most people stay in that state forever. They call it living, but if you look closely, it's not living, it's reacting. And that's exactly where the illusion begins. Because the world teaches you something comforting, that life is fair, that effort equals reward, that being a good person guarantees a good outcome. But reality doesn't operate on comfort. It operates on structure. It operates on power. It operates on awareness. And the moment you start seeing life through that lens, everything changes. Because life is not random. It's patterned. It's layered. And more importantly, it's controlled by forces most people never learn to see. That's where Machiavelli begins. Not as a villain, not as a manipulator, but as someone who simply refused to stay blind. He didn't describe the world how people wished it worked. He described it how it actually works. And that difference is everything. Because once you see life clearly, you stop being controlled by it. You start navigating it. Let's break the first illusion. People believe that life rewards honesty, that if you're genuine, open, and transparent, things will naturally align for you. But look around. The people who move forward aren't always the most honest. They're the most aware. They understand timing. They understand perception. They understand what to reveal and what to hold back. Because life is not just about truth. It's about positioning. And positioning determines outcome. You can be right and still lose. You can be honest and still be ignored. You can be good and still be replaced. Because none of those things guarantee power. And without power, you are at the mercy of others. That's the uncomfortable truth. Most people don't fail because they lack ability. They fail because they don't understand the game they're playing. They walk into situations emotionally, blindly, reactively, while others are thinking 3 steps ahead. And that gap, that's where control is lost. Because life is not just what happens to you, it's how you respond, and more importantly, how you prepare before anything even happens. Machiavelli understood this deeply. He saw that people are predictable, not in what they say, but in how they behave under pressure. Give someone fear, they react. Give someone opportunity, they reveal themselves. Give someone power, they expose their true nature. And once you see these patterns, life stops being confusing. It becomes readable. You start noticing things others ignore. Who talks too much? Who needs approval? Who reacts emotionally? Who breaks under pressure? And suddenly, you're no longer guessing, you're observing. And observation creates advantage. Because most people are controlled by their emotions. They don't choose their reactions choose them. Anger makes them speak. Fear makes them hesitate. Desire makes them chase. And in every one of those moments, they lose control. But when you understand life the way Machiavelli did, you step outside that cycle. You don't stop feeling. You stop being ruled by what you feel. That's the difference. Because control is not about becoming emotionless. It's about becoming selective. You decide when emotion serves you and when it weakens you. And that decision is power. Now let's go deeper. Because life is not just emotional, it's social. And social structures are built on hierarchy. Whether people admit it or not, every environment has it. Workplaces, friend groups, families, even relationships. There are always invisible lines, levels of influence, levels of control, levels of respect, and most people never learn to see them. They treat everyone the same. They speak without awareness. They act without strategy. And then they wonder why they're overlooked, why they're ignored, why they're not taken seriously. Because in a structured world, unstructured behavior gets pushed down. But once you start understanding hierarchy, you move differently. You speak with awareness. You observe before acting. You understand who holds influence and why. And instead of reacting blindly, you position yourself. Not aggressively, not obviously, but strategically. That's how real movement happens. Quietly, precisely, without unnecessary noise. Because loud movement attracts resistance. Controlled movement builds leverage. Now here's something even deeper. Life is not just about what you do. It's about how others perceive what you do. Perception shapes reality, not completely, but enough to change outcomes. Two people can do the same thing and get completely different results. Why? Because one understands perception and the other doesn't. The one who understands it controls the narrative, controls the timing, controls the image, and because of that, controls the response. That's why Machiavelli emphasized appearance as much as reality. Not because appearance is everything, but because people judge what they see before they understand what's real. And if you ignore that, you put yourself at a disadvantage. Now let's address something people avoid. Conflict. Most people either run from it or react emotionally inside it. Both are weak positions. Running shows fear. Overreacting shows lack of control. But understanding conflict? That's different. Because conflict reveals leverage. Who stays calm? Who loses control? Who needs validation? Who can walk away? And, in that moment, power becomes visible. Because the one who needs less controls more, always. Need is the hidden chain that controls people. Need for approval, need for attention, need for validation. And as long as you're driven by need, you're not free. You're reactive, you're predictable. And predictable people are easy to control. That's why detachment is powerful. Not complete detachment, but enough to think clearly. Enough to not react impulsively. Enough to choose your response instead of being dragged into one. That's where life shifts. Because now, you're not just living inside situations, you're shaping them. Now let's go even deeper. Because life is long-term, but most people live short-term. They chase immediate comfort, immediate validation, immediate results. And because of that, they make weak decisions. They sacrifice long-term positioning for short-term emotion. But strategic thinking changes that. You stop asking, what feels good right now? And you start asking, what strengthens my position long-term? And those are two very different paths. One leads to temporary satisfaction. The other leads to control. Machiavelli always thought in outcomes, not just actions. He understood that every move has consequences. Every word creates perception. Every reaction reveals something. So instead of reacting, he calculated, not slowly, but precisely. And over time, that precision compounds. Because while others are busy reacting, you're building. While others are chasing, you're positioning. While others are proving, you're becoming. And that difference doesn't show immediately. But give it time, and it becomes obvious. Now let's talk about the cost. Because seeing life this way comes with a price. You start noticing things others don't. Manipulation, weakness, patterns, repetition. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Conversations feel shallow. Reactions feel predictable. And sometimes people feel transparent. That can create distance. Not because you want to isolate, but because your awareness changes your tolerance. You stop engaging in things that drain you. You stop entertaining behavior that wastes your time. You become selective. And that selectiveness can feel like loneliness at first. But it's not. It's clarity. It's space. And in that space, you grow. Stronger, sharper, more controlled. Now here's the final layer. Life is not about becoming someone else. It's about removing what weakens you. The neediness, the impulsiveness, the emotional reactions, the lack of awareness. Strip those away, and what remains is something rare. clarity, control, presence. And once you reach that point, you don't need to force anything, you don't need to prove anything, because people feel it in the way you move, in the way you respond, in the way you exist. And that's when life starts working differently. Not easier, but clearer, more controlled, more intentional. And that is what Machiavelli really understood. Not manipulation, not deception, but reality, unfiltered, uncomfortable, and powerful. So if something shifted while you were listening, don't ignore it. Sit with it. Think about it. Start observing your own patterns, your own reactions, your own positioning, because awareness is where it begins. And once it begins, it doesn't stop. If you want more real, deep breakdowns like this, no fluff, no fake motivation, just clear understanding of how life actually works, stay with me. Drop a comment with what hit you the hardest, and I'll see you in the next one.